Well, good afternoon, good evening, DCL podcast fans. It's good to be back in the Cove, and we are going to be recapping June's DCL news recap along with a couple other topics tonight. And we've got kind of the regulars here. Christy, how are you doing tonight, Christy?
I am well. How are you, Steve?
Not too bad. And Steve, how are you doing down in Tampa there?
I'm doing well.
And we've got a special guest tonight coming from a live north of the border with the update on what's going on in Canada. Thanks for joining us tonight, Bruce.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, thanks for joining our wacky little crew here, and we look forward to catching up with what's going on up in Canada. As I know a lot of people had wonder sailings booked. I know our family did, and for lots of reasons, they're obviously not going to happen this summer, but we look forward to hopefully happening next summer, right?
Yes, definitely.
Right. All right, so should we just jump right into the news? Does anybody got anything that they want to talk about before we jump into it?
Nope.
All right. If for those who are out listening tonight, if you guys have any questions, any comments, go ahead and throw them out there, and we'll read them on the air as well as we're kind of going along. And so let's just jump into it. The biggest news, I guess, coming in out of, well, I don't know if it's the biggest news, but the latest news is that Disney Cruise Line has decided to delay their June 29th test cruise. So Disney Cruise Line had a test cruise set up on the Disney, on the Disney Dream. It was a 2-night test cruise from the port of Canaveral. And according to DCL spokesman, due to a small number of inconsistent COVID-19 test results, which were considered positive by the CDC, the rigorous health and safety protocols we have in place helped us identify the situation, although the test results were ultimately negative. So what it sounds like was they tested some people. Well, everybody got tested. They had some positive results, but when they went back and they went through their protocols and everything else and retested them again, it ended up being negative. But rather than going forward right now, they're going to go back, kind of make sure everything's set up the way they want it to be before they do another test cruise. And right now, there currently is not a new date set for another test cruise. Are you guys hearing anything different down there, Christy or Steve?
No.
Nope. Just, I mean, I guess the Celebrity Edge just came back, right? And had a successful...
The Edge is still out till Saturday.
Out till Saturday. Okay.
So, I mean, I think the one thing that I would take away from this is, yes, and I don't want to get into how fast Disney pivoted with Walt Disney World, but when Walt Disney World first opened, they opened up how many weeks before or after Universal, Steve? Do you remember?
I think it was like 3 weeks. It felt like forever. It felt like forever at that point, you know.
Yeah.
It felt like a significant amount of time, but it was about 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah, but I think that goes to show. I mean, I'm just throwing my opinion out there, I guess, in this, and you guys can change it if you want, but or throw yours out there as well. But to me, it speaks volumes that they're taking it seriously and making sure that everything is set up perfectly before they actually launch their test cruise, because they want everything to be set up correctly. Go ahead, Christy.
So I have a couple of comments.
Sure.
First, I am curious about what is happening over in Europe right now on the Magic, because there are some cast members who are posting to their Instagram accounts that are all like, oh, it's so stressful. Oh, this has been a tough day. Oh, all these things. So are they having concerns about the safety of starting cruising? So that's on the one hand that maybe they're conservative. But then on the other hand, in the parks, they're all just like, woo, do whatever you want. Party, COVID's over. Free for all.
I knew you were going to go there. But so, I mean, it's a different environment though, right?
No, the news is different, because the news does not care about the amusement parks for whatever reason. Nobody is like checking those. Nobody, and I'm going to say the same thing I've said every time. There's 30,000 people in a sports arena. Nobody's confirming whether COVID is spreading as a result of going to these sports arenas without wearing masks. But 2 people have had positive results, maybe 4 total, on all the cruises that have left from our mainstream U.S. cruise lines. And the news is blowing it out of proportion as if it's everywhere. So I'm a little heated tonight, people. I'm very sorry in advance. But so maybe Disney doesn't want to be in the news, but then they clearly don't care, and or they know the news isn't doing anything about anything that's happening at amusement parks. So maybe that's why they no longer care about what's happening there. But it's like they're concerned about COVID on cruise level, but not on park level. But what is happening over in on the Magic right now in Europe? What is happening? Because why are people so stressed out and concerned about what's happening over there? These are my questions.
Steve?
I don't know. I'm not disparaging your perspective, Christy. I just didn't hear about the stress on the Magic, and I didn't hear. I recently didn't think that. I thought that there was positive stuff coming out of cruises in the media from what I saw. Like, but again, I'm looking at sometimes an echo chamber of like, folks that might be on the test cruise. I know they interviewed people that came back, all the employees, I think, off of Royal Caribbean. I think they had.
The results are positive from the cruisers, from the people on the cruise. The people on the cruise are having a fantastic time. Nothing's affecting them. Everything's glorious. But in nearly every news story that is hitting mainstream media about the cruise, they'll show a picture of the Edge, but talk about somebody on a different ship having had COVID, or even in the news article talking about the delay of the test cruises, there was a picture of the Edge. Because why? I don't know. They needed a picture of a cruise ship. They could not find a cruise ship from Disney Cruise Line to put on the picture. Yeah. So, and then they're like, oh, but these ships are cruising. And, it's just very dramatic. Much like I'm being right now.
I feel the intensity.
Yeah. Bruce, you want to jump in and add any opinions?
I think that cruise lines have to be transparent, right? And so it's going to wind up on the news one way or another, right? They have to be transparent. I think the media can blow things out of proportion when don't they? But we should be hearing about what's going on, because that will bring comfort to people and to other countries as well. No clue what's going on cruise ships sailing out of the UK, but I know the UK, they're having really tough time with young people and vaccinations and whatnot. And unlike Canada and the US, they have not approved vaccines for teenagers, right? And so teenagers like to socialize, and people in their 20s like to socialize. And so, of course, all that is going to create some anxiety and stuff like that in people. So,
well, we will wait and see when Disney announces their next test cruise. I'm sure that they have a plan in place, and we will probably be hearing about it soon. So, and I just realized that I took your news story, Steve.
Oh, all good. You ran with it. I was ready to start out with just drop the negative hammer on everybody, but I'm sure I'm sure folks have. Seen it. I also actually had a question, and we don't have to draw this out. Sure. But was it Disney's decision to delay their test cruise, or was that a protocol decision because inconclusive results count as a positive result? So I didn't know if that was actually a protocol thing where they couldn't go ahead, or if the company decided not to go ahead. So I guess what I'm hearing is that Disney decided not to go ahead.
I feel like it was Disney, but I very well could have missed something.
Okay. I didn't know if it was a protocol thing or if it was a Disney thing. So.
Right.
So
hey, go ahead.
On the same line, though, one of our listeners, Maria, did mark that in an Instagram story that she saw relating to the Magic. She at least saw the social distancing markers on the floor. So that's something. So they're getting ready. Maybe I don't know. Maybe that's why they're stressed out. But
I guess I need to get into Instagram and get off of MySpace, right?
I mean, we've been telling you that for months, but what do we know?
Yeah.
All right.
Just follow the Disney Cruise Line hashtag DCL Disney Cruise Line. You'll see that it
is amazing.
Yeah,
to me. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say there's a lot of, and I forwarded a few things, and you probably see all this stuff too. But
no, forward away.
People that can call back on their contract. I thought Disney had some restrictions around that, but there seem to be, fairly open, or at least
they're very open. They're very open. So that's exciting. Maybe we'll get even more. That was my comment. Like, I can't believe how much these people are sharing, which is good. It's great for us because it's the only thing we're getting. Disney is the only cruise line saying absolutely nothing about anything relating to their cruises. And yet, at least we have cast members or crew telling us what's happening. What was that little face, Steve?
Nothing. I was just okay. So we have one other comment from Sarah. She says there's a level of transparency that is required by law for cruise ships. Lawmakers for the parks have publicly exhibited a very different expectation of transparency. Totally agree there. And yes, it's through their CM. It's frustrating. Yes, it's through their cast members. It's frustrating, says Maria. All right, let's go on with news story number 2. Steve.
Oh, pardon me. The fall 2022 sailings are now available to book by all Castaway Club members. I think that was like last week that it opened up, right? Fall cruises can be booked on all ships, and featured sailings, of course, to the Caribbean, the Bahamas, Mexican Riviera, and one coastal sailing along the West Coast. Several of the sailings will include popular Halloween on the High Seas and all the themed cruises, Very Maritime, which is awesome. I love Very Maritime cruises. The Dream is going out of Miami doing the 4 and 5 night sailings that we used to see the Magic do, for example. The Wonder, the Magic will sail out of New York. There's a 7-night cruise out of San Juan, the Southern Caribbean, and then Galveston, which is really cool. And then the Wonder sail dates end in October in San Diego, so there's nothing beyond October for the Wonder. And we're not sure if it's going to remain on the West Coast or transition back to the East with the rest of the fleet. And
go on.
Yes, sorry, go ahead, Christy. Yep, and of course, as always,
go on.
No, I was going to say, contact Packer Pixie Dust for your bookings. There you go. Plug it in.
Thank you. Let's let that sink in though for 1 second. The last comment there, besides hiring me, I guess, but that the Disney Wonder sale dates that they released end in October. What is it doing in November and December? Like, where's the rest of its itinerary? So I just think that is that's newsworthy. Where is it? Where is she going? What is she doing?
Bruce, you got any thoughts? Is she going to come back up to Canada?
The Wonder?
Yeah.
The Wonder will probably be back up here.
But not in November, right? Like
if you want very cold conditions.
Well, all the ships have had light dry docks through this whole thing, right? Just like general maintenance and maybe some some dry dock. So obviously you wouldn't have an extended dry dock for a couple months. I mean, immediately there was a catastrophic kind of response, like they're retiring the Wonder. Of course, that's not going to happen. Which it's the first ship they would retire would be the Magic, but let's not even go there. So I don't know. I don't know what the speculation is there, but it is. I mean, it's 2 months short of what they've released, right? They're through what, first week in January, right? So
yeah, they always get right past New Year's Eve.
Has anybody ever done any of those cruises?
Years ago, I did, not on Disney, but
yeah, I'm sure it's awesome.
Chris down in California has been on, I think, for a couple of the New Year's Eve cruises, and he talked about it on one of our previous shows, which was, I think that'd be kind of cool to be on a cruise ship on New Year's Eve. It
is very cool. With Disney, you either go on a cruise or put your kid in college for a year. So for New Year's Eve, so that's just something to weigh in your mind.
Well, I will say that I looked at the Wish for the week before Christmas, because in Florida here, my wife, only had 2 sips of tequila. My son and everybody, school ends at, I think, December 17th or 18th. And that first cruise over there was very tempting. It was cheaper than what I had thought about in the summer. So I was like, wait a second. So it was a lot. You did. Okay, great. Yeah.
So right. You can come. Everybody can come.
Yeah.
December 20th or 19th on the Wish.
19th, right? 4 nights, right?
Yep. 23rd.
I was really hoping the Wish would get a 5-night in there somewhere, but there was nothing.
I know.
3-4 night. I don't think they have to do anything special to attract people on the ship. So really hoping for a 5-night there. But.
Although I will say, while we're talking about the sailings, that release was a bit soft. I'm super curious. So here are some thoughts I have about this release. I feel like they pushed it forward because they want money in their, they want DCL to bring in money. So because there was hardly any time between the fall Wish or the summer Wish release and then the entire fall season.
Mm-hmm.
I think Disney actually thought it would be more exciting, but I think that because they push those dates so close together, everybody's sticking to the cruises they booked in the summer and the early fall. And so then late fall, it was pretty soft.
Soft meaning that you didn't have a lot of bookings?
That I don't think Disney had a lot of bookings. Like prices didn't jump, availability didn't change between the days. All of those things weren't happening between the days of the release. So that happens sometimes. And fall is very boring. Like we were talking about this at some point. But it's not an exciting itinerary release ever anyway. Even the beginning of January is also not that exciting. Like summer with all the European sailings and things like that, super exciting. And, the phone lines get bogged down. But man, like the system didn't crash. Like you can learn a lot by how the system responds to a booking release, and you could get through on the phone. So, I think they did it a little close. I was fine with it from my perspective, but I think they released those 2 seasons a little close together.
Yeah, I mean, but if you were putting down your 20% deposit on any Wish sailings, that summer, and then you gotta go ahead and save up for it or whatever you gotta do. I mean,
I haven't even paid for my deposits from the Wish.
Right. Yeah.
When they release the next season.
Right. Yeah. The credit card bills just didn't even roll in.
My credit card's due in 9 days.
I love how you know that offhand.
Well, doesn't everybody know when their credit card bill is due? I mean,
isn't that what auto pays for?
Yeah.
Well, it is. But...
Yeah, I don't want to look at this, especially now that we've been going to Disney a little bit more. So.
Bruce, do you have a favorite time to sail? Do you like the fall, the summer?
I like the winter when I'm in the Caribbean.
Okay, there you go.
Everybody from the north. Yeah, that's what we do.
Yeah, exactly.
Did anybody book fall sailing then? I guess, Christy, you said you did. Steve, did you?
No, nothing for me.
Okay.
Steve, did you book the Wish at all?
July 4th.
Oh, okay. Because I was going to say that's a lot of restraint.
Yeah, I'm not even. I kind of impulsively did it, and I don't know. We'll see if we follow through. I just wanted to get in it. I did it in the middle of the night. It's a whole nother story that I'll tell.
Okay.
I literally woke up at 4:30 in the morning
and had FOMO.
I FOMO'd in. I just leaned over and said, "You know what? The price is going to go up tomorrow, Leah. What do you think?" And she was like, "Just leave me alone." I was like, "Okay, that's a yes, right?" Like,
wasn't a no.
Yeah, I just locked it in. Who knows if we'll go through
So
that.
you hate though being in your town and in your house on the 4th of July. So that's perfect for you because there's a lot of fireworks going off in the neighborhood in the all hours. And so this is perfect. You can go on a cruise and you escape it. We've done that one year. We were in Alaska over the 4th of July where there is 0 fireworks. It was glorious. Highly recommend if you live somewhere where you don't like them going off in all hours of the night.
Yeah, and I don't have to use any PTO for one of the days. So that was another bonus.
For sure.
But we'll see. It's just I used to always go that week. Back when I was family would do cruises when I was in college, and that's kind of how it started. But anyway, so we go that week, and it's not my preferred time in the summer because at that point it tended to be very pretty crowded and lots of families traveling. But we'll see. Sorry, we're off topic.
Well, we booked a 3-night on the Wonder out of San Diego for just my wife, Veronica, and I. So we're kind of looking forward to that. Get a day in San Diego and 3 nights on the ship gives us kind of a good 4-day weekend to get away in the fall. We had a couple comments. I wonder if she will explore Catalina. I know Carnival does the Catalina itinerary. I know it's in the fall if it does happen. I'm pretty sure that on one of the ones that canceled this year, whether it was in the spring or the fall, that she was scheduled to actually go. The one was actually scheduled to stop in Catalina. And then Sarah says, I missed Puerto Vallarta in 2020 and would love to get there. And I know there is one 7-night sailing in 2022 out of San Diego in the fall where she's going to hit Mazatlan, Puerto Vallarta, Cabo, I believe. And I think she skips Ensenada. So there you go. Let's move on to free cruises, Christy.
I love free cruises. Okay, so Disney Cruise Line is giving away free cruise every month from June to March. Don't forget to enter Disney's Year of Wishes sweepstakes to be eligible to win a free cruise aboard the Disney Wish. And I almost forgot, and I don't think that we registered until like 3 days ago. So we got through our June registration. You can enter by following DCL on Instagram, Twitter, or Facebook. Once the monthly theme is released, post a photo to your social media feed with your wish quotes related to the theme using the hashtag Year of Wishes and sweepstakes. There will be a total of 50 contest winners throughout, really only 49 because I will be one of those winners. Find out all the details at www.yearofwishes.com. Sorry. So my son, for people who aren't on camera, my son has come up and requested a goodnight kiss. So I'm really sorry about that.
Hey, dude.
That's always what we do.
That's what we do.
That's what we do.
They said hi. Well, I expected you guys to talk while I was getting.
Well, Steve was talking. He was mute. Steve, you're on mute.
Sorry. There I am. There we go.
He
So
went
I'm not
mute.
sure.
This
I'm
is
not
like
sure.
a year and a half into COVID, and these are half of my work conversations are still
Yeah.
muted.
Yeah.
You're muted. You're muted. Or, you're not muted. I can hear Maury Povich. You're not muted. Who is the father? Anyway.
No, I wasn't saying anything for it. I was just saying that I'm not sure if people outside of the U.S. are eligible. I didn't read the fine print, so I'm not sure if you're eligible to win a free cruise, Bruce, or for our friends over in the U.K. But
First of all,
I read the fine print only to see if I was eligible.
yeah, you didn't care about anybody else.
I did
As
not
long as
pay
I'm
attention
eligible.
to whether Bruce and or other nationalities were eligible.
If we ever board the Titanic, I'm following you off the ship, Christy. You get out of my way. I've got the boat.
I will find my way.
I've got the boat booked.
Oh my god.
All right. Anything else about free cruises other than the fact did you enter, Steve? I didn't enter. I forgot the first month.
You know what? I forgot, and my Instagram is private, and I think you have to have a public. But I could do it on my Twitter account. I completely forgot for June.
Yeah.
I guess that's two more spots. I'm that much higher.
I know. I guess I could just create a public Instagram, right? I don't know.
Just make it up. Yeah.
Yeah.
You could do it on Facebook. Do you have Facebook?
No, I don't.
Well, you're on Twitter. You can do it on Twitter.
Do it on Twitter.
Yeah, I'll do it on Twitter.
But
you could do it across all accounts, and you can have like multiple entries, right?
Can you though? Because it was very unclear as to whether it counts more than one entry. I mean,
okay.
How are they going to know? But
All good. You guys are taking me anyway. I have full faith.
So Chris has already indicated that I have to take him. One of our listeners required that for her to support my winning. And so that will be my cabin of 4 because I have to take my husband and child.
Well, you just get the one that sleeps 5, and then
that was not an option.
Go.
You win a party of 4 wins, I believe.
Oh,
well. So you also have 3 kids.
Yeah,
you're out.
Well, remember when Dave?
I'll call Bob for the concierge suite. Get the one day. Sorry.
There you go. All right, let's move on to news story number 4, and we're going to head up north and get kind of a rundown of what's going on up in Canada with the kind of changes with the Wonder not sailing up there this year. And Bruce, you've been kind enough to come on, and so what's going on north of the border?
Nobody can travel here right now.
Nobody can leave either.
Well, we can fly, but we have to quarantine when we get back. But some of the rules are changing, though, so it's good. We might have news of border reopenings either later this month or next month. It's really hard to tell with our government. They are always so quiet about it, but our provincial governments create speculation sometimes, and so we can kind of guess things. So the cruise ship situation, that was a bit of a rough one when they announced that 1 year cruise ship ban back in February. It took me by surprise a little bit in the beginning, but we were in a pretty tough place in Canada at the time. We actually ordered a lot. Well, the story goes, we ordered a lot of vaccines. We ordered more vaccines per capita than any other country in the world did. And we were the third country to approve vaccines. But when Pfizer had all those delays, that meant that we wound up kind of being put to the side a little bit for a while. And so we just were in a situation where we thought that we could even open the borders for the rest of the year, never mind cruise ships. And so it was a very tough situation. And basically, even our vaccine rollouts, you guys in the US, you guys have one dose and 28 days later you get your second. Is that correct?
Yes.
Here in Canada, it got to the point where they just said, you know what, we can't store these vaccines forever till people are eligible for their second dose. So because shipments are so slow, we need to get vaccines in people's arms as quick as we can. So they decided that we're going to vaccinate everybody first with the first dose. And then once everybody has their first dose, we're going to start doing the second dose. So it wound up going from 28 days to 4 months between the first dose and second dose. And so again, you know, with that kind of timeline, it just looks like really, you know, not a great situation for cruises and opening the borders and things like that. It sounded like we wouldn't get a vaccine until the end of September. When the schedule first came out, I myself wasn't eligible till late July for the first one and then September for the second one. So it was pretty brutal rollout. But after spring break, we started seeing a lot of catch up happening with the vaccine rollouts. And so now we're in a much better position. Our age 12 and older, we have 77% of that population vaccinated. We're the top 10% of the world for first dose vaccines. But of course, we don't have the second one yet. That is going in everybody's arms. That's still at around 20%, right? So we still got a ways to go, but we're in a way better position now than what we were in February when they announced those rules and that 1 year cruise ship thing. So borders could open later in the summer, maybe. I don't think cruise ships are going to happen this year just because it also, the way that Alaska Tourism Recovery Act is worded, if Canada allows cruise ships to happen again, that Alaska Tourism Recovery Act is terminated that day, right? It doesn't go until March 2022. It's terminated that day. Canada allows cruise ships to go back. So that means cruises would have to reschedule and this and that. So I think it's easier on everybody just to say, hey, let's plan for a 2022 restart, and then we'll just go from there. So it sounds like in the next few weeks, we'll probably hear from the federal government about what that's going to look like and how all that is going to work. So
has Canada been, I apologize that I haven't followed it as closely, but has Canada been more uniform as far as all the provinces kind of following along together? Sort of.
We're similar to the US where every state has its own kind of pandemic. It's the same with Canada, but I think in Canada there's more I want to be careful with how I word it, but like a little less focus on the recovery or economy and a little more focus on health, okay. I think, from our perspective. And so we try to balance both across the country, but each province has their own individual response on how they're going to do it. Here in British Columbia, where I live in Vancouver, about 20 minutes from the port. We have tried to balance health and economy. We've never had a real lockdown here. But when push comes to shove and you can only choose one, we would take health and have to close certain parts, certain industries like pubs or restaurants have takeout only and that sort of thing. So we've had those type of situations. Yeah.
Bruce, I read today that all retail and in-person shopping has opened up in Canada. Is that?
Where I live, it's never closed.
Okay.
But it depends on where you are. Ontario is what most people down in the US reference to, because Ontario's been tough. Ontario's our largest province. It's the most populated province. But it's been tough there because they've had the longest lockdown in North American history, longer than California. And so I mean, when you do that, you have people rebel, and then you need to kind of stay closed longer and things like that. And so now a lot of provinces are moving to a new phase starting today, including British Columbia. While we have always had shops open, now things like masks are recommended but not mandated anymore if you're fully vaccinated. So it really depends on where you're from when it comes to shops and stuff. It depends on what the situation is in those areas. We have a very small population in Canada, as you may know, but and it's a very big country. And so sometimes when you get pockets of COVID going into those northern communities where very few people live, it's just hard to get resources over there. And hospitals, sometimes you got to drive 2 hours or take roundabout routes. And for example, in British Columbia, we have forest fires, 80 forest fires right now, wildfires going. And so that has closed some highways. And so if you're in those small communities, it takes a long time to get the help that you need in certain situations. So that's why it can be rough, and that's why Canada kind of is taking that slower approach, or one of the reasons anyway. And so some of those provinces, that's why it took a while for shops to reopen and restaurants.
So do you have any question, Christy?
No.
So being so close to the port, and I know you're a big cruise fan, Bruce, are people talking about cruising up in Canada, or is it more just kind of the focus, let's get through this, and then 2022 we'll start thinking about it then? Or are people like kind of itching to get on vacations again?
The port of Victoria is certainly talking about it. I mean, we've seen that on the news. I think the discussion right now, even with the port of Victoria, the discussion is about 2022 when it comes to cruises. It's not this year. I think Victoria, Vancouver, Prince Rupert is another place where many cruise lines go. Everybody's kind of moved on, and really moved on since February, to be honest. But when certain events happened in the US, it triggered more conversations. And so and also our vaccine rollout changes triggered conversations. Well, what if this and what if that? I think Canadians would love to travel right now, but I think there's also the understanding that the slow process seems to be working right now, and certain countries we probably shouldn't be going to right now. We don't allow flights from India, for example, right? And the UK would probably not be the best place to go right now, and things like that, right? And at least for Canadians anyway, right? Just because British Columbia recorded only 44 cases of COVID yesterday. We want to keep it low, right? So we don't want new variants and stuff like that to be brought in. So it is that slower approach. We would love to travel again, but it's just a matter of when and how we can do that without having to quarantine and stuff like that. So.
And I didn't mean to put you on the spot to speak for all Canadians or anything like that.
Oh, trust me, I don't speak for all Canadians. Every Saturday we have our group of protesters in Vancouver. So,
Well, any other thoughts? I know that we were really looking forward to sailing on the Wonder out of Vancouver. You live in a beautiful part of the country, a beautiful city, and for anybody who gets the opportunity to sail either out of Vancouver into Victoria. I haven't been to Prince Rupert, but just such a beautiful area, and we look forward to back and doing that again.
Yeah, you know what? And I think, very soon things will go back to normal. I think when the borders reopen, so long as you're vaccinated, you can come here again. And, people will, be able to enjoy themselves again up here. So it'll be great.
Definitely. Well, with that, let's move on to one more news story. And then, Steve, you got your topic tonight. So. All right. Run Disney. We cover a lot of Run Disney stuff, or we try to cover Run Disney as well. There's not as many podcasts that cover Run Disney anymore. So I think it's one of our favorite things to do. Steve, that's the first time I met you. I know, Christy, you've run a marathon in the past as well. Bruce, do you run very much at all, or are you a runner?
No. Not really, no. Just when I'm playing sports or something. That's about it.
Okay.
Bruce is like, I've got healthcare here in Canada. I can just, that's okay. I'm okay with just doing what I need to do and not having to stick. Anyway, sorry. Go ahead, Steve.
No, that's not good. So
Burger King for lunch. So
Run Disney returns to in-person running, starting with the Wine and Dine in November 4th to the 7th of 2021. They're going to be doing the half marathon weekend. And then they've announced Walt Disney Marathon Weekend's coming back January 5th to the 9th. Disney Princess Half Marathon Weekend, which I believe is really the biggest of all of them. Well, it's between that and Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend.
The marathon weekend is bigger.
Is bigger. Okay, 24th to 27th.
Capacity is, I think, the largest for sure.
Okay. And then I'll save this one for a second here, but all of those first three have virtual race options as well. And I think it's going to be really tough when openings come up to get into any of these races, because I know even though things were kind of waning a little bit as before COVID with Run Disney, I know there's a lot of pent up demand for people to get back and do this. But their last one, replacing Star Wars, the Star Wars Run Weekend, is Run Disney's Springtime Surprise Weekend. Anybody excited?
I mean, do you really pay for that without knowing what you're getting?
Well, that's what I kind of wonder.
Well, so that registration's not open for that. So I think what they're going to do is announce the theme and then registration.
Okay.
The
registration's not open for anything now, but it is opening. When is everything opening?
Wine is like next week, right? Or the week after?
Yeah, it's soon. I just didn't know when. Who knows when? Who knows when things open?
I'll look it up. Keep talking.
I think Club Run Disney goes first.
July 6th. So Tuesday or something like that.
Yeah.
And then
so watch our website,
Wine and Dine. Then general registration for in-person is July 13th. And then virtual registration is July 16th. I think the virtual is for the people that really want their villain medal.
And probably couldn't get into the in-person ones too.
Yeah. So that's that one. They are doing a 2-course challenge again. And there's a post-race party. That looks fun.
I'm pretty surprised we have races in November. I for sure thought it was going to start in January. I really did.
What have I said about Walt Disney World and COVID? It's over.
Yeah, I mean, I think
I'm surprised too.
I don't know. I think a lot of things. I think what I was for sure thought that what was going to happen was they're going to have I think the kids races are going to be back, and I was like, okay, so that was really interesting too. But I mean, if you're going to allow kids into a theme park, I was like, are the kids going to be in masks or something? Because they're not that. I don't know. I'm not going to get into the weeds about all the speculation there, but I'm just more.
I do not see again, I could be looking wrong, but I do. Well, in the weekend events for Wine and Dine, I do not see a kids race.
So it says, just for kids, Run Disney Kids Adventures, a new Run Disney experience is currently in development and will replace the Run Disney Kids races. Please check back closer to the event for more details.
Yeah. There you
go. Somebody asked, Donna asked if there's a good way to book early before general registration without getting robbed for Run Disney Club.
I mean, DVC used to be able to book early, but I don't see an option right now.
Yeah, I think that's really disappointing to me. I mean, you used to be able to get annual pass and DVC members. I mean, the fact that they don't, or not, for whatever reason, I don't know why they're not letting, throw folks a bone. You know what I mean? I mean, folks that all you do is continue to push a product and take stuff away. To not
and charge more money.
I mean, and not only that, I mean, it's a guarantee that the websites are going to crash. I mean, because there's such a pent up demand. So if you're putting everybody and you're putting everybody in that general registration lane, and you're basically, somebody made the decision to try to force people to pay for Run Disney, Club Run Disney, so they can get early registration. Anyway, I was talking to Steve the other day. I didn't book a room for it. Mostly because I really don't even have faith that I'll even get in as registering for the event. Not only that,
I can get a refund
on a room. Yeah, well, I didn't want to pay in full for a room, and I don't know. You know what, too? And I actually didn't. For me personally, I didn't want to use my points for Run Disney events because I live an hour away, and you got to wake up at like 2:30 in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning. I just didn't want to use my points to stay in a room to sleep like 4 hours, and not even enjoy the room. So anyway, that's a whole different point. So I obviously have a lot to say about this, but I'm happy they're back. I'm a little upset that they didn't give any, nod to DVC members or annual pass members to get at least like a leg up on registration. But hey, keep taking stuff away. That's cool. That's cool. I'll come to your house, Bob Chapin.
It's a happy newscast tonight. Wait till we get their final topic.
If we have Steve from Tampa on, I'm not the most bitter one on here. This is fantastic.
I don't snort the pixie dust. So, I mean, we all collectively love it, and we all pay a lot of money for it. And, I think it gets hard to pay for stuff that continue to get stuff taken away. That's a hard sort of direction to go in that way. So maybe eventually it'll come back. But I didn't see anything for early registration. We haven't had Magic Moonlight event for DVC, which I don't expect them to do. But
COVID's over. Bring it back.
I know. That's why I was pushing fireworks. Where's Top of the World Lounge? I was like, if we're gonna open, like, just go full in. Just give me that Top of the World. I want to go bad. So anyway.
Okay.
Maybe I'll get a spot. Maybe Steve will run. You're running the half, right? You want to run the half?
We're hoping to run the half, but it's kind of the same thing as you. We've already got rooms booked, which we booked just on the premise that these came back. But we are going to be gone and out of town the day the registration opens, so I'm not really hopeful that we're going to be in a good spot with Wi-Fi or cellular to be able to get a spot. So we'll see. They also have not announced how many people will be able to run in person. That's the other thing that they haven't announced. Yeah. So I guess we'll maybe find out this week or next weekend when they open up for Wine and Dine, kind of get a snapshot of it. I'll be talking to Lake from Mouse Gen, and he's kind of on top of all the Run Disney stuff. So we'll try and get that information out to him as well, as far as what he's hearing, as far as how many numbers people were able to actually register. Christy?
What's funny is travel agents are all talking. They're shocked that Disney announced Run Disney for Wine and Dine, for example, and there are no hotels available already. No. They're already sold out prior to Wine and Dine. They need to open up, the remaining hotels and open up availability. So there's a lot of discussion about that, but something to keep in mind. People can book hotels and cancel them. So that is likely to occur still at some point. People are just keeping stuff open. But what if they don't? And if some of these other resorts don't open up? So just keep that in mind for your race weekends. If you can't get a hotel, I think for Wine and Dine earlier today, there was one suite available on property, like a suite, one actual suite or something like that for these dates that another travel agent was trying to go for her husband. And
Port Orleans has 4 billion rooms. It's got to open. Port Orleans has to open.
I know. What are they waiting for? Disney, what are you waiting for? Are you listening to us?
I think.
What are you waiting for?
Hopefully they refurb some of the rooms because, my God, some of them are atrocious.
How many hotels are open now?
Yeah, I mean that and
the All-Star, couple of All-Stars.
Music, needs to open up. I think it will. The other reason why I was amazed by it is because you had the 50th anniversary, and then a month later you're gonna have a Run Disney event. And I was like, you're not gonna need patrons. The 50th anniversary is gonna be crazy. You don't have enough park reservations for some of the 50th anniversary stuff right now. Never mind including a Run Disney event, but they're just turning the light switches on, and I'm like, collect that money, guys. Collect that money.
So registration for Walt Disney World Marathon Weekend opens for Run Disney Club Run Disney members, Gold and Platinum. I forgot that there were levels. July 20th, and then general registration for in-person races opens July 27th, and virtual races open July 30th.
Donna asked, think they will still require park reservations by then, marathon weekend?
Yes.
From what you guys
They
are hearing?
are requiring them through all of next year as of right now, and Disney has said they're here to stay. Now, they are opening up a lot more reservations. Even right now for the fall, they're opening up more reservations. So I think they are going to stay. I think they are going to be more easy, like readily available. And I think that they are doing this so that they can keep track of where people are going to be. Because with fast passes, they could on some level keep track. But now you're not showing up to Walt Disney World without a reservation. Now, some people still show up the day of and like try to get a reservation. And I've definitely made a reservation the day of to try to meet somebody or to change my mind at the last minute to, you know, get a meal or something at a park. But they're going to do this. They have stated, I think Chapek even stated that they're here to stay. I don't know if they'll be here forever because they're a little bit annoying, but I think they're going to be here for all of next year.
All right, I'm in the minority there. I don't mind it. I don't mind the system, but it does. I don't know. Maybe because I live close. I don't. It's different. You know, when you have to really plan this vacation, it's a little difficult. But I think they're here. I think they're here for a while.
One last question, and we'll jump into your topic, Steve. Bruce, being from the West Coast, are you Disneyland or Walt Disney World?
Disneyland.
I am Disneyland. Yes. Definitely.
The original park.
It's the first park I want to go back to.
I've never been to Disneyland, and I think I'm Disneyland.
What? You haven't been there?
First of all, listen. I'm gonna kick around the trash can tonight. I love California because California weather is superior in every way to Florida weather. But so just right there, just being comfortable in a theme park would be amazing because I'm almost never. There's about 4 months a year here where it's like, oh, this is cool. Got a sweatshirt on. It lasts till about 9 o'clock, and then you're sweating. But I think that alone, just having like a dry climate and being able to walk around a theme park outdoors, I would much prefer. So if that is a major box to check. Plus, I heard, I don't know, it's the OG. I don't know, it's the OG.
Okay, I lied. Favorite ride, Bruce? We need a favorite ride from you.
Oh my goodness, I like the Pirates of the Caribbean.
Oh, I like that one there too. Yeah, what about Haunted?
It's great because you go through the restaurant and all that too, and that's the best restaurant as well. So.
Favorite Disney cruise ship?
Oh my goodness.
God, that would change every
time.
Depends
on where it goes.
Okay, then favorite itinerary.
I've always wanted to do. I've been to Iceland, but I've not been on a cruise ship. So I like to do something like that. That is just kind of different, and you don't always get the opportunity to do that sort of thing. So those unique itineraries are what I like doing. Even though I've been to Iceland, it's still, just the fact that you can go on a cruise ship. I think that's pretty cool. I know, right? I know. Yeah.
I just pop over to Iceland.
A few years ago, Iceland Air used to have North America, and you know about that. They used to take you from North America to Europe, and if you did a stopover up to 7 days, they wouldn't charge extra. So it was great.
I saw them today in Seattle when we went through SeaTac. Iceland Air's parked out there. They're flying back to North America now. Yeah, so they've come back. I've heard them talk. I love their call sign, Ice Air. So yeah, Ice Air. So I've heard them talk on the radio several times. So it's good to see them back and being able to, if you're vaccinated, go over to Iceland and enjoy just another beautiful country. So yeah,
Iceland actually just announced today that for people visiting 16 and up, I actually just sent it to a client because they're going to Iceland in the fall, but that you do have to be vaccinated to go there.
I think a lot of countries are going to be that way, right, Bruce?
Yeah, it sounds like it.
They can't ask in Florida, though. They can't demand. Apparently, though, did you see that? So there was a news article about this. We weren't going to talk about it. We're not going to really talk about it still. But about Royal Caribbean and Celebrity, what they are doing because of the Florida law, apparently the law says that you cannot demand that somebody show you or ask whatever for them to show you their vaccination.
This is the perfect workaround.
I love lawyers, but they can tell you, you can ask them to tell you. And if you ask them nicely and they choose to tell you, because you don't demand that they tell you, but you ask them nicely, then you're fine. And then just for any listeners, what Celebrity and Royal Caribbean are doing, if you don't show them and tell them and come out and tell them you're vaccinated, they're going to treat you as unvaccinated. And Royal Caribbean has stated that you cannot go into their casinos, at least for the fall, if you are not vaccinated, which I feel like that is, I can't think of the word, but it's very cruise lines.
Loophole.
Well, the loophole about the asking versus the demanding and all of that. But cruise lines really like gamblers. And they're just like, show up vaccinated or we're going to limit where you get to go. And if you don't tell us, we're going to assume you're vaccinated. Very interesting. The restrictions appear to be for those over the age of 12 who are not vaccinated after a certain age, 16 or before a certain date, 12 later. So just you have to read the fine print, but it's very interesting.
I thought it was the perfect workaround. You knew there was going to be an angle to it. I just didn't see what it was going to be. But it was kind of like, hey, if you're vaccinated and you tell us you're vaccinated, look at all the stuff you can do. Mm-hmm. But if you don't tell us you're vaccinated or you're not vaccinated, then well, enjoy your closet over here, and we'll send some bread and water to you underneath the door. No, it's not that bad, but
no. And I will say that I have
it was a perfect workaround.
It's a perfect workaround.
Yeah.
Celebrity has their new ship, the Apex, which is over in Greece right now. It is coming to the United States, like it was here and then it left. But it's coming to the United States in the fall. It has 1 4-night sailing and 1 3-night sailing. And I booked my family on the 3-night sailing because I was like, hey, I could go to the Apex for a weekend. We'll see, just before Halloween. So there is a line on the special services line, like if you were in a wheelchair, or like they'll add my gluten allergy in there at some point, but that actually says vaccinated for my husband and I. And obviously we'll show them so that we can be treated as a vaccinated person. But it's like they figured out even how to add it to their itinerary, their confirmation of going on the cruise. It's very fascinating to me.
It's fun to watch things work. Okay.
It is.
Let's finish with our last topic. I was hoping I'm not going to limit you too much, Steve, but let's jump into this one because I know you wanted to talk about it.
Apologies. I think it could be a whole show, to be honest with you, just as an aside. I think.
Okay, so then we'll just touch on it and then we'll save it for another show.
Yeah, no, I think it could really be a whole show. Disney Cruise Line introduced a Cinderella Princess themed rooms on board the Disney Wish, as we already know. And we also have the updated Polynesian rooms with Moana. Now this week it was the Contemporary has the Incredibles theme. They're closing the Wave and reopening it as a steakhouse, which I don't think has any Incredibles theme in it, as far as I understand. But I'm one of the people. I love the Wave, so
same.
I'm sad to see it go. The Wave was a spot we went to very, very often. And you also mentioned, Steve, that in the Wilderness Lodge, there's Bambi and chipmunk stuff in there.
Yeah, I will. Before I don't mean to cut you off, but I will say that in the Wilderness Lodge, which we just stayed in, and they redid the rooms from the paying side, which is where we stayed in instead of DVC. There are very subtle touches, and I could put some pictures up of Bambi and why can't I say the chipmunks' names? Shoot,
Chip and Dale.
But they were worked into some of the kind of like the wallpaper in between the beds. But they also had things like a
subtle.
big sign that said camp, and they also said had something like fire on one side, or it wasn't fire, but it was like, pointing towards like the campsite and whatnot. So it was very, I thought it was well done. Most of the stuff was woodsy themed, and it wasn't over the top with lots of IP. It was very subtle compared to what the contemporary looks like.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's not subtle at all.
No, it's not, and I think you have to move. There's 5 stages of grief.
This is why it can be a show in and of itself, right?
Yeah, there's denial.
Did we even mention that the topic is putting IP in all the hotels? So intellectual property.
Yeah, and like I said, IP really everywhere, right?
Okay.
IP rides, right? Great movie ride going to Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Hey, don't you defame my favorite ride.
Mickey and Minnie's?
Yeah.
I love it. I know, but there's a huge I really like Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway. But I wasn't a person who even, I don't even remember the Great Movie Ride, to be honest, but people loved the Great Movie Ride. And I'm sure it was there was a reason why they loved it. And this happens all the time, with these memories of whenever you have these memories, you have quite an attachment to them, particularly when you have them in childhood. And when something changes, it's sort of, not even to be hyperbolic, but it's devastating for some people. Like if they overhaul a theme or whatever, overhaul a ride, but I think what we're seeing, and as far as the news is concerned, is commentary off that, but is the direction of the company to interject IP at almost every place they can, and I think it can be done okay at times, and that's, again, this is all opinion. And then I think I'm not of a person that generally forgets I'm in Disney when I'm there, and I don't always need to be reminded by all the intellectual property that they own at every single corner that I turn. So again, personally, and we could make a whole show out of this, don't need to be beat over the head with that stuff. So, I sort of appreciate when the creative juices are innovating new and original things, even if they're forced to integrate IP, which I think is going to be, we all know, like that's just going to be the direction that everything goes. With the Avengers Campus, Galaxy's Edge, et cetera, they spent a ton of money acquiring some of these intellectual properties, but some of which were original intellectual property that they'll always integrate. So anyway, I think it can be tastefully done. I think I have to move to a place of acceptance. I do not love the direction of it. I was not of a camp of loving the contemporary rooms. I thought they needed an upgrade, but I don't need to wake up on Frozone if I'm paying $700 a night. You know what I mean? Like the Frozone chill. It looks like
still in your face.
Yeah.
Real. It's a lot.
I would personally, this is going to sound a little weird. My kids really like some of the values, and values are great. And if that's where you're going to go, that's awesome. Pop Centuries are great. The refurbs at Pop Century are awesome. It's the tic-tac-toe, remove the carpet, put up the pull-up bed, clean up the room, redo that's like the refurb 101 stuff that Disney's doing now. Put hardwood down, get rid of the carpets. I think that's awesome. But values are like in your face, over the top, like IP stuff, right? That's like the point of those values. I think it's a little bit weird in some of the deluxe spaces, but I'll let the masses chime in. Maybe I'm in the minority.
I mean, I like the hotel to not look like a Marriott, like I want my Disney hotel to be unique. I think that the Incredibles theming belonged in a moderate or a value resort. I think it is not. I don't know how you charge. How do you charge conference goers the price that they charge for the people that there's tons of conferences at the Contemporary, and then you throw them in a Incredibles room? Why didn't they make it like a bookable category? So I know we have the garden wing rooms, which there's not that many, but I know the garden wing rooms are not themed. They're just their normal Contemporary circles or whatever. But like, the Caribbean beach has the pirate room, which seriously need to be refurbished in the worst way. But it's a bookable category. Like, you know what you're getting, you book it. There are people with families and there are people just stuck with it, but there's people everywhere that know that they're getting that. Make it a bookable category. It doesn't need to be the entire whole huge resort.
Yeah. I know these are just opinions. And at least mine is pretty much meaningless. But again, I'm not that. Maybe I'm not the audience. I mean, I'm not paying the rates at the Contemporary anyway. So that's I'm not.
Who likes them? Somebody comment. Are you happy? I know lots of people love them.
I haven't seen recent stuff done at the resorts, but I'm probably the wrong person to ask, because when I go to Disneyland, I stay in Motel 6, and I stay in the value resorts just because I never am at the hotels. So
I agree. Yep.
Theming to me, I enjoy them. I mean, I'm they're probably the wrong person to ask, because I just pick whatever is the least expensive wherever it is I go. So
I hear you.
So Maria doesn't like them. Sarah loves them. And also Maria said it should be at a value.
I think this is a tough topic because, as you said, Steve, who's the audience? Is it the kids? Is it the kids that are going to have the memories of being in those type of rooms versus you? But then again, you've got a good point as far as like the Contemporary being a conference hotel. Like, is that the place that people that are going there for conferences want to say? I don't know. It depends on if they have their families. So they get their families with. Maybe they're happy being there.
Can you put IP in, like, back when Disney did it in a little picture and on the curtain with a little hidden Mickey, and in the carpet walking down the hallway. So we're not putting carpets in the room anymore, but walking down the hallway so that you can look for the hidden Mickey, not like the giant incredible women or whatever in the closet that is like, I don't know. That's just.
And I'm not hating on the people that like it. If you like it, that's all. If you like Incredibles, if you like all that stuff, that's great. It's good for you. I just, I don't know. Here's the thing. The last ride that Disney at Disney World that was an original ride was Everest. Everest is, to me, one of the best things they've done. And actually all of Animal Kingdom, as far as Imagineering, is amazing. And it doesn't. If you walked in there, you don't. Disney does not like explode in that park. It's truly an amazingly designed place. And Everest, the queue throughout the whole thing, the story, the Yeti, the whole thing is awesome. To me, it's Disney Imagineering at its best when they can create something. And the great thing is you can only do that there. I love that about that, right? Like, you can only go, I was talking to Brian from DCL Duo. You come out of that ride and you go in the merch, you can only get Everest merch at the Everest ride. Like, it's not like, they didn't put, one of the OG5 or the characters or whatever. It's kind of unique when they start to create stuff that you can only have in certain locations inside the theme parks, and it doesn't have to be part of like Pixar animation, Star Wars, or Marvel. So I understand why they do it. They're going to continue to, and I have to move towards acceptance. I do wish they would just sort of turn on some original stuff. I think what they did, now I will say what they did with like Flight of Passage and using Avatar. If you didn't see Avatar, you would never know really that was Avatar, right? That was that world. They did an awesome job of integrating some IP and creating this world that you don't need to see the movie to really sort of think that maybe this is completely original or whatever. So anyway, I could go on a whole tangent about this. It's the direction of the company. Another part of this, to speak to Deluxe Resorts and News, is that the extended hours now are going to be for the Deluxe hotels starting during the 50th anniversary. So they're wanting you to spend the money to stay in those rooms, and they're trying.
Yeah, so it's evening.
Yes.
Extra magic hours for Deluxe properties and villas. So Disney Vacation Club villas and Deluxe properties. evening extra magic hours are for those properties only starting October 1st. Morning extra magic hours, which will be a half an hour before, is for every Walt Disney World resort. And at first I was like, meh, what's the big deal? It's a half an hour. Then listen to Len Testa, who is the smartest Disney man, I think, alive. He went into a little discussion about, think of that half hour. Think of arriving in the line a half an hour before everybody else that has to wait and then walk in. That half hour is actually going to be a big deal for the lines in the morning. If you're not making it, if you're not on property, you might as well just potentially stay home for a couple of hours, because that's kind of how the lines are going to work at that point.
And I think that's the direction. I mean, you can see it on the Wish, right? You got all the concierge now on the Wish. They expand the concierge. Even when they've redone and dry docked some of the older ships, they've put in more concierge rooms. That the direction is to, go towards people with more disposable income that are willing to spend more money there, and integrating, as much IP as possible. Like that's the whole thread of the connection there. And so I expect to continue to see that. If they're giving you something that you feel is of value for that product, that's really good. But give us DVC members early registration for Run Disney, folks. I know you guys are not listening. But if you've ever seen how much they charge you for those damn timeshares, can you please throw us a bone at this point? Like, my goodness. So anyway,
Well, that's our full circle with that.
That's our opinion segment. I hope everybody enjoyed that, and I guess we could probably put a whole show around that in some ways. But I would just caution this, and as you said, Steve, as it goes right now with the current administration of the company, that's where they're headed. But I know that there's a lot of people that think kind of more like you and I do, as far as having like those classic touches. That's what drew me into Disney Cruise Line and the Disney magic and the ships there, where they really brought out the era of cruising, and they really made you feel it through the pictures that they had on board. And it wasn't necessarily some of the characters and everything else that they had on board. That's what I appreciated. So I hope that they continue to put those touches with the cruise line, at least, even though you've got a picture of Cinderella over your bed when you pull into your stateroom every night, which is fine. That's fine. But I hope that they keep
that is fantastic.
But I hope that they keep those classic touches as well. And the next leadership, maybe you may be the next CEO, and you can bring it back full circle.
And that is,
I'm not male enough to be the next CEO.
Well, it could be you too, Christy.
I think I don't have to go on and on about Cruise Line, but I think what they stay true to is a sort of old school, classic theme on the ships, and there's a subtlety to those ships. I appreciate that, because there's other, because they're not. It's not Vegas, out in the sea. And if you want to go to Vegas out in the sea, there's a lot of Vegas out in the sea, and that's awesome if that's what you want to do. If you want to do both, do both. Whatever you want to do. Not personally my thing, but I like that they can keep that consistent. That's what I like about that. So I don't need. I guess I appreciate some of the subtleties and the nuances is what I'm trying to get back to. So, I think a lot of people do. Even if you embrace some of the direction of where they're going, you can do both. You can like both. That's okay. I just want to see a little bit of a balance. Like, give us an original ride again. Wouldn't that be awesome? Imagine if they announced like an original ride again.
Well, we've kind of come to the end of the show. We've gone a little bit longer, but I really appreciate your opinion and bringing that one up, Steve, because I think like you said, and we could tell just in our chat that so many people are on different sides of it, and it kind of depends upon what speaks to you and financially, emotionally, and everything else. I just want to throw one thing out there. After traveling around the last week in the summer and just seeing the amount of crowds that are crowding the airlines right now, if you haven't been out there yet, or you're getting ready to go out there, and I'm not just talking specifically about the airlines, but pack your patience this summer. Whether you're headed to Disney World, spending time at Disney World, Disneyland, pack your patience in the airport with your fellow travelers, because there's a lot of people out there. We all went from 0 to 100 pretty quickly, and things aren't quite as smooth as they used to be. I want to just, that's my soapbox tonight, is just pack your patience when you head out to Disney World. Just enjoy the time with your family wherever you're going to go, whether it's the national parks, up to grandma and grandpa's, out to Disney World. And the last thing I'll say is, for those cruising on any of the cruise ships, Royal Caribbean, Celebrity, when Disney gets going again, I think that the other thing that does go, we state it all the time, but the thing that I think is probably the best reason why all of us go back to Disney Cruise Line is those cast members. So please take care of the cast members when you get back on those ships, and whether it's Disney or any of the other cruise lines that you may be on, because that's what really makes our memories magical, don't they?
Absolutely.
Yes.
So with that,
these folks are burnt out working through this pandemic. Steve, you've been working this whole time flying in and out of the airport.
Yeah,
all your flight attendants, your customer service, your baristas at Starbucks. Be the nicest you've ever been to them.
Pack your patience, because there's like long lines everywhere, and it's not easy to do. So as we kind of finish up, Christy, any final thoughts?
No. Wear your mask if you're flying.
Steve, any final thoughts?
No. Thanks for letting me air out my grievances here. I'm here because I love this stuff, but I gotta be like Bruce, a little more Canadian and laid back,
Bruce, thank you so much for joining the show tonight. You're fun to interact with on Twitter, and thanks so much for being part of our show tonight. So
thank you for having me.
Yeah, and all the best to you guys up there. And like I said, once it opens up and we get back up to Canada, go up and see Bruce's city, Vancouver. It's just amazing.
I'd love to go.
Yeah, when we get a chance, we'd love to have you back on and talk some more cruising with us and just Disney in general, Bruce.
Is it Canada Day today?
Our airports are empty right now. So we got maybe 5 flights to the U.S., I think. Yes, it's Canada Day today.
So
Happy Canada Day.
Kate, our listener, has said Happy Canada Day. So thanks, Kate, for letting us know. And Happy Canada Day, Bruce.
Thank you so much.
Definitely. Happy Canada Day, Bruce. That's a beautiful country. So, all right, as we finish it out tonight, if anybody has any thoughts or questions, please email them to us. If you have any questions about Steve's opinions on IP, email them to him. Don't email them to me. No, I'm just kidding. But if you need help booking a future cruise or any type of vacation package, and you need a travel agent to work with, Christy, Pack Your Pixie Dust is your girl. Go ahead and tell them how they can reach you, Christy.
You can reach me all over the internet at packyourpixiedust.com. So you can find Pack Your Pixie Dust on all social media channels. And I am happy to help you book your vacation. And I do just want to say thank you to our listeners and to those who have booked with us as a show. We really support it. And then myself, I support it. It's getting late. I really appreciate it. And so it's so past my bedtime. Thank you, everybody.
All right. Well, as we get out of here, thanks again for coming back and taking a listen. And we'll see you next time on the DCL podcast. Good night, everybody.